Hello, I'm going to show you how to place your art into the tunebooster outline file to create a custom tunebooster. It's very simple. I've opened this in Illustrator, but you could use any graphics program you have. One thing to note is that this red square should measure 11 inches high by 13 inches wide. And that's to make sure the proportions are correct and it'll match up with our cutting program. And when you're done with your file, please name it as your email address, and that way, if we have any questions at all, we have a quick reference. So all of these shapes are the flat shapes of the tunebooster. You can see how they relate to a constructed tunebooster here. Everything here is printable with the exception of this area that we'd like you to leave blank white because that's the gluing area between these two parts. And that happens right here under this area. And I'll show you how that works in a little bit. First thing we'll do is to bring in an art file, and you bring it onto the outlines file, and you want to make sure that you can see the outlines file over your art. In this case I can't, so I'll just send that art to back. And now I can see the outlines file over that, and that will just ensure that I can place the art where I want it. Let's say, for instance, I wanted to cover everything with one pattern. And again, this file could be anything, a photograph, scanned image, text, illustration, anything you had at all. So let's say I just wanted to cover everything with a pattern. Be as simple as that, done. It's all with a pattern. But I still need my glue area. So what I want to do is to create a white block out over this area. So here you see the area we need to have glue. To white, and it doesn't have to be precise. I just want to block out this area, because again our program will cut it out, and that way we won't have any ink there where we need to glue, and that would be a finished file. But let's make the file as it would be made to make this here, so you can see exactly how the flat file relates to the printed constructed tunebooster. So again, bring the art in. I can't see my line, so I'm going to send that back. There we go, I can see the lines. And so this bicycle card art, I only want on the main back panel. So we'll just stretch it around to cover that area. And I want plenty of bleed. You don't want to bring your art right to the cut line, because there's always a little deviation in any cutting process. So you want to make sure you have some room. I don't want critical art to be right at the edge here. So here I've got my little mermaids in the corner, and that looks great. If I wanted to adjust that, I just would adjust it relative to the die lines. I want to bring them in a bit. So that looks good. Now we'll put some color on the middle area. And basically what I want to do is have that color match the dark color in the card. So I'm going to sample that, and I've got that. Then we just create a block of color that covers that portion of the outline. There's that. And I want to stretch it up right up to the red line to make sure it's all covered. I want this whole area to be colored. Okay, that's done. Now you can see I'm covering the fin here of one of the sides, so I'll just bring that in a little bit. Fine. And okay, my side panels are red here, so let's do the same thing. Pick that color red, and that's just one big block to cover both shapes. Again, you could have them be different colors, you could bring art into there, whatever you like. So this is almost done. This is almost complete art that would create this tunebooster that you see here. The last thing we want to do is to get rid of the die line. We don't want that to print. So just choose that die line and delete it. Now that's a finished file. So let's save it. I'm first going to get rid of this guy because that was just there for your reference. This is what you'd have when you're done. And I want to export or save that as a JPEG. And I'm going to name it my email. And, by the way, that's the email you would send to if you have any questions at all. So we'll save that. Maximum quality. And we're done. Now just upload that to the Printworks Gallery site and continue the process, and that'll be the Toon Booster that you've created. Have fun.